Welcome to the Naked Relationship Podcast. I'm your host, and we've got something exciting for you guys today. It's a little bit different than we planned. We originally were planning on having a wonderful interview lined up for you guys, but that didn't happen. Kelly came home right before we were supposed to interview, and she just had like the worst fucking day at work. She was working days, and that gives her a lot of anxiety. And then when you couple that with it was just super stressful on top of that, it was just a bad day for her. So I'm going to be doing a solo chat today, and I've got some exciting things to talk about. Well, I don't know that they're exciting, but definitely things that I've been wanting to talk about here on the podcast. But first, let's go ahead and get into our sponsorship today, and that is Alt Playground. We love you guys, and we think a lot of you guys. And so I just want you guys to know that Alt Playground is not sitting around twiddling their thumbs hoping that you join their site and experience the greatness that is Alt Playground. They're doing a lot of shit. And that is not just limited to building their site with all these great features, but they're also out there making acquisitions. Swinger Safari is now part of altplayground.net. So once again, many new non-monogamous people from across the country are joining the ever-growing lifestyle community on Alt Playground. And because of that, they can be a part of all the growth and fun at Alt Playground. And when we say all the growth and fun, there's so many features on Alt Playground that you guys are potentially missing out on. But please keep in mind, they're adding features all the time. There's some other features in the works that we are not allowed to talk about that have us podcasters pretty fucking excited. So that's altplayground.net. All right, so kind of switching gears here, what I would like to talk to you guys about is a couple of things. And the main one is flipping the roles. It's a gut check. So let's say only the wife plays, okay? And then the husband or the other partner gets an opportunity to play, and the one that always plays gets jealous, feels a certain way about it, and that's bad. Well, it's not necessarily bad, but it's a gut check moment, because on one hand, you're okay with you doing all of these, but then when it comes time for your partner to do all these fun things that you've been exploring and experiencing, it's not easy because it's a shift from the norm, right? It's a shift from everything that you know as what you're doing. Like, it's a new experience, and it's not always going to be easy. I mean, when Kelly and I started playing, it was primarily her going out on these solo adventures. Sure, we did have some adventures where we played together, and those were a lot of fun. But if you listen back to some of our episodes, you'll hear a couple of times where she got jealous and even rejected me because it was new and it was uncomfortable. Now, why it was uncomfortable for her, that's still up for debate. But at the end of the day, I think that, it's on one hand, it's hypocritical, but on the other hand, it's completely understandable, because I'm sure when you had your first lifestyle experience, it was new, it was exciting, but at the same time, it might not have scared you, it might not have scared everyone, in a sense, but that first time you see your partner fucking someone else or whatever it is that you guys do, yeah, it's a gut check. You're like, oh, this is real, like, pinch me, but it can be very exciting, but also very much like, oh, we're actually doing this. Okay, I'm actually going to have to jump off this diving board. It's not easy. It's really not. Jumping off that diving board and kind of releasing yourself and letting your other partner, or really just accepting that your other partner is doing things that you get to do, it's scary. But at the same time, it's what we all go through a little bit. And because when Kelly started playing, yeah, I found it hot as shit. And then when I started playing, she was like, oh, you have to shower, you have to brush your teeth, don't kiss me, whatever. Like, she was very, don't be around me. And that hurt. It really did. It felt like, oh, you can do this, but I can't. It felt like I did something wrong, and that's not fun. And feeling like that isn't healthy, but eventually Kelly was able to get over it. She's read several books and listened to several podcasters and has really grown in that area. So, big props to her for that. But not everyone is going to learn that way. Not everyone is going to grow that way. We're all different. We're all different and we all react to certain situations differently. So, I don't know. It's interesting to me how that whole dynamic can be a thing because it's hypocritical, but also completely understandable in human nature. Because for the majority of us, we're taught from a young age, monogamy is the only way. And that is something that I still struggle with. I actually just got off the phone with a good buddy of mine. We had like a 2.5 hour conversation tonight. And that stemmed from, how do I let this wonderful person down? How do I go about it in a way where I don't hurt this person's feelings and stuff like that? But we also talked about what we like and what we don't like and in other people. And one of the things that I was talking about to him is I still feel like all I want is Kelly. And that's for a number of reasons. And one of those reasons is because to me, she's the best ever, right? So for me, I've had the best. There's no point in trying anyone else because I've had the best. And the other part of it is like here lately, I've kind of been in this funk where I don't want anyone else. Like holistically, it's very difficult for me to want anybody else right now, probably because we just got married not too long ago and we've really not had a lot of time for each other alone, because we've got 3 cats, 2 dogs that always want to be on top of us. And, I understand it's not like having human kids. I understand that. So please don't think that's where I'm going with this. But the fact of the matter is, even when we went to my sister's wedding, almost 2 months ago, we had to take the dogs. We had a hotel room with 2 dogs. And even when we were trying to do the nasty and all those things, one of the dogs was still trying to get up on the bed. And because that particular dog just wants to be around Kelly and smother her with attention 24/7. So I haven't really gotten to really celebrate our marriage, and so that's probably another reason. But the other thing is I always get super fucking nervous going to events without her, whether it's a solo event, whether it's a party, whether it's a threesome or a gangbang, whatever. I always get nervous. Like that threesome I had a couple weeks ago, I felt like I was going to fucking shit my pants, I mean, it all turned out fine, but I always get so anxious. And a lot of it is unwarranted, unneeded, unnecessary. But I get that way. That gangbang back in the spring or whenever the fuck it was, maybe early winter, Kelly had to push me out the door, basically. I didn't want to go. There was a time when even, it was a party that Kelly and I were going to go to together, where leading up to it that whole day, I just wanted to spend time with her. And I kind of felt like I was pressuring myself to go. And as we're getting ready, like Kelly was almost done with her fucking makeup, okay? Like she was almost done. I'm getting out of the shower and she can tell something's wrong with me by the look that's in my face. And eventually we just canceled on it. And then we went and had a date night, just us. And it was, I'm tearing up thinking about it because like I very much would love to do that kind of thing again where we go out to dinner. I say that even though this past weekend we went on a little weekend getaway, no kids or no animals. We call all of our pets our kids, but it was a weekend with no kids. It was peaceful. It was nice not having to walk the dogs or feed all the kids or whatever, and once we have human kids, I imagine it's going to be completely different and a lot more responsibility. So I'm trying not to be disrespectful of parents because I know that it's a lot of work, but for us, we call our animals the kids and we treat them like our kids. I fucking love every single one of them unconditionally. They'll still piss me off, but regardless, it was nice not having that responsibility. And we went out for dinner, lunch, and brekkie together. It was amazing. And I loved every minute of it because I'm a big quality time guy. And I'd rather spend all my time with Kelly than with other people, which Kelly's an introvert. So it's very easy for her to get overwhelmed with my love and affection, which is understandable because I would much rather spend time with her than do anything, right? Well, potentially, except for watching the Seahawks game. Go Hawks. But at the end of the day, going to that party or hanging out with Kelly, I don't know. I just got so much anxiety and I just didn't feel like we were in a right place to go to that party. But the organizer was really nice. He's actually the one that I had that 2.5 hour phone call with a little earlier tonight, but he was very understanding, and him and his wife, and I don't know if she's the girlfriend, like a poly triad, or if she's a submissive to him. Regardless, it's really none of my business. But they invited us out for dinner the next night, and we all just had like a great conversation. We had a great time, and that was really kind of a turning point for me in terms of how I felt about these individuals, because the gentleman, when we first met, he came across as pretty intimidating because I understand what his goal was, but I think that I interpreted it as a little too strong for me. But now I fucking love the guy. Like, he's cool as shit. He's awesome. He's understanding. He'll try to do anything he can to help you out. But he's also very, very protective. And I respect the fuck out of that. So regardless, my whole point is that I get anxious, which is funny because getting back to the whole flipping of the roles, when Kelly goes out and plays, it's completely fine. Yeah, I'm still anxious about it just because I want to know that she's okay and that she's enjoying herself. But I get anxious when it's the opposite, because I'm going out doing something that I was raised knowing was not okay. I joked around with my mom like, oh, hey, we're swingers. Little does she know, but in her mind, that's not okay. My sister, after she would have graduated high school, came out as bisexual. My mom like fucking cried. Look, I'm not going to tell that I'm bisexual, but my point is, I grew up knowing that you had one partner only for the rest of your life. And I remember promising my mom I would wait till marriage to have sex. I made it till 16, but that was the thing. For her, it was about being a good Christian boy, and even though we didn't go to church, and making my grandma proud, who was a very strong Christian. And we might get into the hypocriticalness of my grandparents on a later episode because it's very, very dark. But it was all about that, and trying to do the right Christian thing. And now I'm not religious. I'm not monogamous. And I'm not monogamous because I want to take a spite at God or whatever. I'm ethically non-monogamous with my beautiful, perfect wife because I want to be. It's attractive to me. It's sexy to see my wife with another cock in her hand. Like all of these things, like there's a multitude of reasons as to why we are ethically non-monogamous that go against everything I was taught as a kid growing up here in the South. And, for those people that do practice monogamy and Christianity, props to you for doing what you want to do. That's just not for me. But I respect you guys, even though we share different opinions. But it's just that whole thing of growing up knowing that it's not okay and that I have to have only one partner for the rest of my life. That's hard for me now, because in the back of my mind, that's the way I should be. I should only have Kelly, and that's it. But Kelly is also of the understanding that she might be bored in a monogamous relationship. And I completely understand it, because in a monogamous relationship, you're going to have just the one partner for the rest of your life, which can be a very, very good thing, or it could be a very, very bad thing. And so I think for her, a big thing that she loves is variety. I understand that. You don't want the same dick every night for the rest of your life. You got to try new things. You got to explore. You got to experience. And you got to kind of live your life a little bit, like there's been a lot of times where we've had opportunities to learn things about each other from this lifestyle, where without it, we really wouldn't have gotten the opportunity to learn had we been monogamous. Whether that's Kelly learning a new position that she really enjoys, or me learning how this girl did something this way. And hey, babe, would you mind to maybe give that a go? There's a lot of different things that can help spice up your sex life with your main partner, spouse, or whoever that can come from the lifestyle. But at the same time, it's not just limited to sex that you can grow from. It's also communication gets a lot better, but also your communication gets a lot better and you grow closer. Believe it or not, you can actually grow closer together from it, but it's far from easy. And I think that the fact that it's far from easy also plays a role into my anxiety, because I know that, so for example, when Kelly would reject me, I think that that's also scarred me a little bit. So when I go on these things, I want to be able to come home after like maybe going down on a girl and still be able to make out with my wife without being rejected. But getting to that point wasn't easy. Like, for example, if I were to go have sex with a female a year ago, it would just be rejection city. Might as well sleep on the couch. But now Kelly's like, hell yeah, send videos. It took a while to get there, but it's still a bit of a gut punch when I go and do it for the both of us, because I'm not used to it. She's a lot more accepting now than she was. It's kind of that role's reversed right there, because she's accepting and I'm more like, I don't know, like, you're going to have to literally push me out this fucking door. But I said all that to kind of go a little bit wide of a circle and kind of bring you all back in to show you that we've flipped roles many times, and many times it's been gut checks and we haven't always been okay with them. But it doesn't necessarily have to be the situation doesn't necessarily have to be they went and played with someone else. It could be, maybe instead of Kelly calling me daddy in the bed, which I enjoy, it could be me calling her mommy. That's not as accepted as you think it would be. And that's not something that I actually care to do, but that when I was writing my notes, that was one of the things that I could come up with. The other thing is hand holding, cuddling. That's a big, big gut check for a lot of people. So for some people, it might be seeing your partner with another person would be your big gut check moment. But perhaps if you're polyamorous or newly poly or newly swingers, I can't speak to the polyamory because we are not polyamory. We've talked about it, which we might talk about in a couple upcoming episodes. But, seeing your partner holding hands and cuddling with someone else, or even after sex, cuddling with another person. I mean, I've seen Kelly cuddle with our buddy Daniel, and she probably doesn't remember it because she was wasted. But because of that, I just somehow subconsciously started to try to cuddle Destiny. Sorry, guys, if you're listening, but that happened and it caused a rift in our dynamic. Like, we all kind of addressed it right then and there, or maybe it was like the next time we hung out. But, it's still a gut check seeing someone do something like that to someone else, and one of you playing a new way with someone else. Like, maybe I want to do anal with Kelly, but she won't with me for some reason, but she will with this other person. So that's going to do it for this episode, guys. Please follow us on social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TNR Podcasts. That's plural. But you can also find us online on our website, thenakedrelationship.com. And you can also send us an email on there. And please do not forget to join our wonderful community on altplayground.net. And speaking of Alt Playground, please join them because they are amazing. They're constantly pushing the envelope and constantly trying to better themselves, but not only themselves, but also your experience in the sex positive community, whether that's non-monogamy, BDSM, whatever it may be. They want you on their platform to feel comfortable and safe and meet new and exciting individuals. So thank you guys for listening and putting up with me for quite some time now. And I hope you all have a great night.